All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video in advance of the NFL draft. Bombshell. Wow. Bombshell story. Jory Epstein of Yahoo Sports spoke with Brock Purdy. Purdy remains hopeful that he will return to the football field in 2023. The Niners remain optimistic that Purdy will return after he suffered the tear in the UCL ligament in his right elbow. That was January the 29th. His recovery timeline from surgery, which he had on March the 10th to repair the injury, puts his return sometime in September, though John Lynch made it sound like that was fluid. That's just an estimate. He could be back sooner. He could be back much, much later. We're going to know a lot more. It's April 16th right now. We're going to know a lot more in a month and a half, in June or so. It's April 16th right now, but by early June, we'll have a pretty good idea when he resumes throwing where he is. Purdy, there was a story that came out from Jory Epstein that Purdy is now out of the brace that he wore on his arm. He plans to report to the Niners on Monday morning for the start of the team's offseason program. And there's some doubt, it sounds like, in at least Purdy's mind, whether or not he's going to play at all this year. How about that? Jory Epstein of Yahoo Sports spoke with Purdy on Friday and wrote, "The brace removal remains an early step in his recovery." Purdy saying on Friday he's not really sure, honestly, whether he'll play in 2023 as he takes it one day at a time. I guess they're saying in recent days progress has come in the form of increased mobility. But Brock is coming out and saying that he doesn't know for sure, honestly, whether he'll play at all in 2023. Purdy went on to say he believes his recovery is progressing well. Are we going to see him or not this season? I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. So he, very interesting. Next month, the Niners will begin team OTAs on the field. And so you got Trey Lance and you got Sam Darnold competing, and you have the 49ers looking around at the quarterback market. But this is a major, major story. Brock Purdy saying that he doesn't know if he'll play at all this year. That is a dramatic departure from John Lynch, or at least the picture that John Lynch painted, saying, that there's a chance that he could be back sooner than the estimated time, and that he, suggesting almost that he might be available at some point this summer in camp or in the preseason. Now you have Brock saying, you know what, taking it day by day, but there's no chance that I play at all. That changes things. I think we all know that if Brock is being honest, and he seems like a very honest guy, that changes things. That changes your outlook on Trey Lance. That changes your outlook on Sam Darnold. That changes why Sam Darnold may have signed for all the incentive-laden money that he did, because Sam Darnold is thinking that he's going to start a bunch of games. So really does change things. And it really makes the quarterback now a primary need. And it's like we've talked about the Niner needs before and been totally wrong. And when I say that, I mean, like last year, most people, myself included, thought, man, they got to get a safety out of this draft. And they didn't. They went with Tano Hufanga. They brought in Tayshaun Gibson. And they, basically went with what they had at safety. They didn't go for the safety. This year, there was a lot of talk that, they're pretty set at quarterback, but are they? And then they're looking around at a number of different quarterbacks. Now C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, Hendon Hooker. Those guys are going to be off the board when the Niners pick. But that next group, which includes Jake Haener, who was the MVP of the Senior Bowl from Fresno State, who was at their local pro day last week in Santa Clara. Tanner McKee from Stanford, who's a phenomenal prospect, in my opinion. 6'6", 230, very accurate, very smart, a little bit more athletic than you think. He's going to be there. When I say there, I mean probably after round 1 in their range, let's say if they wanted to trade up. They've had 2 meetings with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who played a 5-year career at UCLA. Very experienced, very athletic, playmaker. They clearly either like DTR or want people to believe they like DTR because they've met with him a couple times. The guy that the more people I talk to and the more people who seem like they have a pretty good knowledge of the Niners thinking, the name that I keep hearing connected to them is Jaron Hall, the BYU quarterback, who's interesting. He's 6'1", he's 205 pounds. In a lot of ways, he's very similar to Brock Purdy. He's from Spanish Fork, a little town in Utah, went to Maple Mountain High School and then played for BYU. 31 games at BYU, 25 starts. He was their starting quarterback over the last couple seasons. And, he's a terrific prospect, super athletic. I mean, super athletic. He might even be a much more athletic version of Brock Purdy. He finished number 1 at BYU in career interception avoidance percentage. He had 52 touchdowns, 11 picks, and he had a pass efficiency rating of 65.2%, tied with Steve Young, by the way, for number 4 all-time at BYU. Racked up over 6,100 total passing yards. Dual threat quarterback, 796 yards on the ground on 181 carries, 9 rushing touchdowns. Really, really athletic. But he's got a tremendous arm. I mean, this guy's got a really, really good arm. So, and comes from an athletic family. He served a full-time mission for the Church of Christ Latter-day Saints in Roseville. He's married to a former Utah Valley soccer player, and they have a baby daughter together, Jada. So, I mean, a very athletic family. His father played running back at BYU. His mother was a gymnast at BYU. His brother plays running back at BYU. His other brother currently plays wide receiver for BYU. I mean, this guy's an incredible athlete. Jaron Hall also played baseball at BYU if he wasn't a good enough player. I mean, think about it. You got enough on your plate. You're a football player, starting quarterback. You're also on the baseball team. So he played 27 games for them in 2019. Outfielder, so, and a good player too. Supposedly hit over 400. So played varsity basketball in high school. Is a golfer. I mean, he's a tremendous all-around athlete. Jaron Hall, he could definitely be their pick. We're not thinking of them taking a quarterback in the 3rd round, but they might. What I've seen is, I've seen Jake Haener anywhere around 100. Tanner McKee anywhere around 120 in the draft. The Niners picked 99, 101, 102. They have Dorian Thompson-Robinson listed at around 130 and Jaron Hall at around 160 as far as where in the draft they'll come off the board. And then there's other guys. Some people like Aiden O'Connell. A lot of people like Clayton Tune. Max Duggan from TCU, I think, is a nice prospect. Stetson Bennett, undersized. May not get drafted at all, but a lot of people like him. A lot of people like Tyson Bagent from a tiny school called Shepherd. Malik Cunningham is an incredible athlete from Louisville. To me, he's intriguing. I've even heard Holton Ahlers from East Carolina, who's 6'3", 235, big-bodied guy from ECU for the Pirates. So it more than anything, whether, now this kind of puts the 49er quarterback picture into greater focus. We don't know about Brock Purdy. We don't know about Trey Lance. And we don't know about Sam Darnold. We don't know if Sam Darnold can play in the NFL. We don't know if Trey Lance can play in the NFL. We don't know if Brock Purdy is going to be healthy enough to play this year in the NFL. So this deep quarterback room suddenly is the most proven, maybe untrustworthy quarterback room in the whole league. So what a dilemma on the in the minds of the 49ers. If what we're hearing today from Jory Epstein of Yahoo Sports is accurate and Brock is not just being, covering all of his bases, but literally feeling there's a chance he won't play at all in 2023. I mean, it was a severe injury. There's no question. He got his elbow ligaments ripped out, basically. It was unbelievable to watch. So to think that there's a chance he won't play this year, that changes the dynamic. And I don't know what to believe at this point. To me, Brock seems pretty honest and straightforward. If he says he's not sure, really not sure if he will play in 2023 at all, and is taking it one day at a time, if I'm the 49ers, that makes me absolutely quarterback becomes like almost at the top of the list for prospects in this draft. I think it's almost imperative that they get one with those first 3 picks. Why? Because what if Sam Darnold is the Sam Darnold of the New York Jets and that 6-game sample with Carolina was a true aberration? And Darnold is just a turnover machine like he was at SC, like he was early with the Jets. Then you're leaning on Trey Lance, and Trey has played 4 starts. Now, in some ways, this might be a real positive because it will force the 49ers to give Trey Lance a full go. And I've heard rumblings that maybe this year will be about giving Trey Lance the full season to kind of, hey, you know what? 2023 is your year. Make of it what you want or what you can. And in a way, that's exciting. In a way, that's scary because you've got an unproven quarterback and a team that's right now one of the Vegas favorites to win the Super Bowl. They got the highest over-under of any team in pro football, the 49ers. And what will happen to that number if it comes out in any kind of concrete way that Brock Purdy isn't going to play this year? My guess is it will go down. But then that makes the quarterback interest in DTR and Tanner McKee and Jake Hayner and potentially Jaron Hall and Max Duggan and Clayton Tune. Now Tanner McKee, it all comes into focus. It all comes into focus. And then it just kind of makes you wonder, will they go quarterback with the first pick? Will they go at 99 if they're staring at Jake Hayner, Tanner McKee, DTR, Jaron Hall, Aiden O'Connell, Clayton Tune, Max Duggan? Because I really believe that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, there's probably 7 quarterbacks, 5 to 7 quarterbacks, depending on how they feel. And maybe they don't like Aiden O'Connell. Maybe they don't like Max Duggan. Maybe they don't believe in Jaron Hall. I don't know. But they're looking at roughly 5 to 7 quarterbacks that are all going to be probably on the board. There's a chance that somebody reaches for Tanner McKee in the second round. Why do I say that? Or maybe early in the third round. Because he's 6'6", 230, smart, athletic, mature, processes what he sees. He's really, really accurate. He's a true pocket passer. There's a lot to like about Tanner McKee. But that makes things interesting. If Brock Purdy can't play, I don't think you can entertain any trade offer for Trey Lance now. And I'll take that prediction right off the board. But what does that mean for Sam Darnold? What does that mean? What if, is Sam Darnold here? What if he beats out Trey Lance? We're going to let Trey Lance sit another year and then go with Sam Darnold? There's a lot of people that believe they're going to go with Sam Darnold. I will say this. I wasn't at the Niner Pro Day, but I heard Frank Gore was down there. And according to Matt Barrows, Frank Gore was talking up Sam Darnold, who was his teammate with the Jets. That's interesting. So, I mean, wow. That's all I got to say about this story. If this story is accurate, This is the biggest story of the weekend. This is bigger than game one, Warriors, Kings. Jory Epstein of Yahoo talked to Brock Purdy on Friday, and Purdy said he's not really sure, honestly, whether he'll play in 2023. And he's taking it one day at a time. So now everything's coming into focus a little bit more. Maybe the 49ers know that there's a very good chance that Brock's going to miss the year. Maybe that's why they're sniffing around all these extra quarterbacks, because in their mind, Brock's going to get a redshirt year, and it's going to be Darnold, Trey, fill in the blank, Jaron Hall, Darnold, Trey, DTR, Trey, Darnold, Tanner McKee, Darnold, Trey, Jake Haener. But now it makes sense. Now a lot of the sniffing around about another rookie quarterback makes sense. If I had to predict of these guys who's most likely, well, they've had 2 meetings with DTR. But, the people that I've talked to say Jaron Hall is the guy to keep your eye on. So I'll take it for what it is. I personally kind of like Max Duggan, but I was thinking 5th round. I wasn't thinking in the 3rd round. If you got to go quarterback in the 3rd round, it's probably a choice between 4. Jake Haener, Tanner McKee, DTR, Jaron Hall. That would be my thought on it. Those would be the guys that, figure, the other guys, Hendon Hooker, those guys will be off the board. Levis, the other guys. But Haener, McKee, DTR, Jaron Hall. And I guess maybe I could throw Tune in there. But those 4 or 5 quarterbacks sitting there at 99, 101, 102, I think one of those guys becomes a 49er. Because you're not going to go into this year with unproven Trey, unproven Sam, and just a hope. You got too good of a roster. You're going to have a 3rd guy. And if Brock Purdy's going to be, out all year, or, out, let's say he's going to be out till December for sure, and they just say, you know what? Let's not do this way. Let's not have you out there potentially coming back. Sit it out. Sit this year out. If that's their mindset, then they're going quarterback in the draft. And they're probably going quarterback in the late 3rd round, right around pick 100, and look for those 4 names. Haener, McKee, Thompson Robinson, Jaron Hall, maybe 5, Clayton Tune. Huge bombshell story, to say the least. All right, hope you enjoyed the 49er video. Check us out on YouTube at The Krug Show. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being a title sponsor of The Krug Show. Check them out. They're in Corte Madera, open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week. And check them out as well in Emeryville. If you're like me and you live out in the East Bay, they're inside the Emeryville Public Marketplace. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in Northern California.